This is the Columbia Mammoth Creek 10-person cabin tent, and in this video, we'll be testing its ease of setup, ease of takedown, spaciousness, comfort, ventilation, and more. I bought this Columbia 10-person tent from Amazon, and here's what it looks like out of the box. Inside the package, I got the carry bag, the tent body, the rainfly poles with a separate bag, 19 steel stakes also with a separate bag, and these instructions. I put affiliate links below if you want to check it out. For ease of use, I looked at how easily I could put up as well as take down and pack up this Columbia 10-person tent. I did this on my own, so one person, and also I tested this with 2 people as well. There are 4 fiberglass poles for the roof, plus an additional 2 steel poles for the roof as well, 6 steel poles for the walls, 10 pre-attached guy lines, and 19 steel stakes. To set up this Columbia 10-person tent, first lay the tent onto ground and insert the 4 color-coded fiberglass roof poles through the color-coded pole sleeves. Then connect these roof poles to the pole connectors. The shorter blue poles will form an oval, while the longer white poles are diagonal across the roof. To complete the roof setup, find the 2 longest white steel poles and connect them to the extreme right and extreme left of the roof like this. Next, attach the 6 steel wall poles to the pole connectors at one end and the protruding pin at the other end to the ring at the bottom of the tent. Also, attach the pole clips at the same time. After, place a rainfly on the top, secure it to the 6 steel wall poles, and then stake out the entire tent. 8 stakes are for the tent body, 1 for the ground vent, and 8 are for the guy lines. Finally, assemble the 2 pull-out windows and stake both out as well. It'll take about 14 minutes for 2 people to set up this Columbia 10-person cabin tent. I also tried to set the tent up on my own, but I could not insert the blue roof poles without some help. When I tried to do it on my own, I think I put too much strain on these fiberglass poles and it started splitting. Taking down the Columbia 10-person tent and then packing it up takes about 8.5 minutes with 2 people and about 16 minutes on my own, excluding washing and drying of course. If you want more detailed instructions on how to set up, take down, and pack up this Columbia 10-person cabin tent, you can check out this video on my channel. For spaciousness, I looked at the peak height, slope of the walls, and base area. This Columbia 10-person cabin tent has a peak height of 80 inches, and I can reach the top of the tent by stretching my arm out. The lowest height in the tent, which is at the 4 corners, is about 62 inches. I'm about 63 inches tall, so I can stand up almost everywhere inside this Columbia tent, except for the 4 corners. But I can stand up just by taking a small step forward. The length of the Columbia 10-person tent is about 13 feet and 11 inches, while the width is about 9 feet and 11 inches, so slightly smaller than the marketed dimensions. Also, there's no vestibule, so if you leave your shoes out, it'll get wet if it rains. This Columbia 10-person tent can accommodate 10 single sleeping pads or sleeping bags, and here's what having 10 pads in this 10-person tent looks like. To accommodate 10 people in this tent, it's almost shoulder-to-shoulder sleeping, though there's some space down the middle for just a tiny bit of camping gear. This Columbia 10-person tent can also fit 4 queen-size camping mattresses, and here's what the tent looks like with these 4 mattresses. The mattresses that I used in this tent are slightly smaller than queen size, so I'll put the dimensions of each mattress in this video for a better reference. These 4 mattresses take up the entire tent, and there's hardly any space left over for camping gear. For comfort and features, I looked at the windows, doors, bug nets, and more. This Columbia 10-person tent has 4 windows, excluding the 2 doors, and the windows are all different sizes, so let me give you the dimensions on the screen here. Each window has 2 zippers, which are pretty much snag-free. If there's no rain, you can unzip the windows for more ventilation, and there is a bug net to prevent bugs from getting in. This is no-see mesh, so you don't have to worry about any bugs getting in at all. You can use this small latch to tie the fabric of the windows up. This Columbia 10-person tent has 2 doors. One is this humongous double door, which measures about 91 by 55 inches in dimensions, but it's about 60 inches from the floor to the top of the door. So almost full-sized, but I do need to duck a little when entering. Here's what this double door looks like in comparison to my size. The other door is right next to this double door. It's this smaller side door that measures about 47 by 55 inches in dimensions and is about 59 inches from the floor to the top of the door. Both doors have no-seam bug nets, spanning almost the entire length of the door, and I really enjoyed having tons of bug-free ventilation. If there are no bugs though, I like to unzip both doors and leave them open. For the double door, just roll back the two sides of the door and clip both to the sides, one clip at each side, like this. For the smaller side door, also roll back the door and clip it to the side as well. There are two clips, one at the top and one at the bottom. The double door has 3 zippers for the door, while the smaller side door has 2 zippers for the door. Both doors can be zipped up from the inside and outside. I did not have any snagging issues. Also, the double door comes with this Velcro closure for easier access in case you don't want to keep having to zip the door up. This Columbia 10-person tent comes with an attached room divider so you can split the tent into 2 rooms. Each room can fit either 2 queen-size beds or 5 sleeping pads or sleeping bags. One of the rooms will have 2 doors and 1 window, while the other room will just have 3 windows. The divider has a zip in the middle so that you can access either room, and you can also pull back the sides of the divider if you don't want to use it. You can also fit just 1 or 2 queen-sized beds in one room and use the other as a living room or something like that. What I really like about this pre-attached divider is that it provides a lot of privacy. The divider is completely full length, so there are no gaps, not even at the bottom like some of my other tents. It's also not very see-through, which is really nice. There are only 2 pockets in the entire tent, both measuring about 15 by 8 inches, which is very tiny for such a large tent. There are 2 lantern loops at the very top of the tent for some lighting at night, 1 for each room in case you want to use the divider at the same time. Also, there's 1 e-port at the middle of the tent. For ventilation, this Columbia 10-person tent has a lot of mesh on the roof of the tent. The rainfly is removable from the outside and you can stargaze when it's not raining. I really enjoy lying down in the tent and watching it turn dark during sunset. Apart from the roof, the 2 doors and one of the windows is extra large, so there's quite a bit of ventilation. The other 3 windows are not very big though, each measuring on average about 45 by 23 inches. But 2 of these smaller windows are tilted pull-out windows, so I was able to leave them open even in the rain. And not just light rain, but moderate rain as well. Also, there's 1 ground vent in this Columbia tent measuring about 40 by 12 inches, so at least there's some ventilation while it's raining. The other non-pull-out or tilted windows and doors have to be closed though, because otherwise the rain would drip right into the tent. As you can see here, when it's raining, quite a bit of rain will drip onto the mesh, so it's best to keep the windows fully closed, especially in moderate to heavy rain. For weather resistance, I looked at rain and wind protection. When I was using this Columbia 10-person tent, it was raining for hours every day, multiple days at a time, with the rainfall ranging from light to moderate, as you can see here. After about an hour of moderate rainfall, there were no leaks in this Columbia tent at all. However, the corners of the tent started leaking after a few hours of moderate rain. So after an entire night of raining, maybe 10 hours or so, this is what the tent looked like. It's manageable, not flooded, but the corners do have to be sealed. For more info on this, you can check out the full rain test video on my channel. This Columbia 10-person cabin tent was able to stand up to light winds, as you can see here, but I don't think it'll do very well against strong winds because this is a cabin tent with almost vertical sidewalls, so the shape isn't aerodynamic at all. The fiberglass poles also bent during a gust of stronger wind, but not permanently. Thankfully, I was able to pull it back into shape. The stakes are just the standard stakes, so if you expect stronger winds, you might need to change these. For quality, I looked at the flooring, the main tent, stitching, zippers, and more. The flooring of this Columbia 10-person tent is made of 150D polyester, which is actually crunch-free and feels much higher quality than my other tents of this size. It has 2000 mm of water resistance, and the bathtub flooring is very useful because even though the yard was partially flooded and this Columbia tent was sitting in about an inch of water, not a lot of water leaked into the tent except a little bit through the corners after many hours. The main tent body is made of 75D polyester with 800 mm of water resistance, and it was enough to keep the tent fabric bone dry from the inside even after hours and hours of light to moderate rain. Plus, all the seams on the tent body and the rainfly have been seam taped really well. I found the stitching to be pretty good quality and consistent with no glaring holes or anything, unlike some of my other tents. These zippers are SBS zippers, and they work fine with no snagging or leaking issues. The mesh is no-seam mesh, it's great quality and feels really smooth and silky. If I'm not wrong, these storage pockets also feel equally soft and silky, so maybe they're no-seam mesh as well. The 4 white and blue roof poles are made of fiberglass, which are much more flexible and more prone to bending. Also, I kind of damaged one of them while trying to put the tent up on my own. There's a slight crack down the middle right here, but it still works fine actually, though I highly recommend getting someone else to help you put this up. The 2 side roof poles and 6 wall poles are made of much sturdier steel, and I like that the protruding pin at the end prevents dirt from actually getting into the pole. The 19 steel stakes that came with the tent are just your standard tent stakes. I had no issues with the guy lines, though it would be nice if they were reflective at night. They don't seem to be. I really like the guy lines of the pull-out windows here, which keeps it sturdy. I'm not sure what material the carry bag is made of, but it feels good quality and it wasn't that difficult getting the tent, poles, and all other accessories back into the bag. This Columbia 10-person tent has a packed size of 30 by 14 by 12 inches. For a size comparison, here's what it looks like beside a Coleman 2-person Sundome tent, as well as a 32-ounce Nalgene bottle, and it weighs about 34.5 pounds for everything. Oh, and this is the front pocket where you'll find your setup instructions. For pros, I found the Columbia 10-person tent to be quite feature-rich with its awesome full-length divider, humongous T-door, 2 pull-out windows, and more. This leads me to my second pro, which is that this Columbia tent offers quite a bit of ventilation. During hot days, you can open all 4 windows, plus 3 mesh panels from the doors. On rainy days, you still get ventilation from 1 ground vent, 2 pull-out windows, and the gap between the ceiling mesh and the rainfly. I was able to leave these angled pull-out windows open in moderate to heavy rain, which was really great. The next pro is that this Columbia tent passed the 1-hour rain test with flying colors with no leaks at all through any of the seams, and the fabric was still bone dry. And lastly, the quality of this Columbia tent is superb with its silky no-seam mesh, crunch-free polyester flooring, SBS zippers with no snagging issues, and more. As for cons, I think its biggest con is that it takes a little bit more time to set up than my other tents of the same size, because this Columbia tent comes with additional features like more roof poles, pole clips, guy lines, and pull-out windows. Also, I don't recommend setting this 10-person tent up alone, so you'd need at least 2 people to do so. Another smaller con is that both doors are on the same side of the tent, and so are the pull-out windows. So if you're using the divider, one room won't have doors and the other won't have pull-out windows. And the last con is that it's quite expensive. It took me about a month of saving to afford this tent, but I must say that the quality is superb and it did not let me down at all. It's also my go-to 10-person tent for rainy weather with an incredible amount of ventilation, good waterproofing, and attention to detail. How does this Columbia 10-person cabin tent compare to other similar tents though? Well, don't worry because I've already done the comparison for you in these videos. I'll put them up when you're ready, so do check those out. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.